Good evening friends, today's date is 11 September 2021 and our today's topic is SQL. We have to start. SQL stands for Structured Query Language, which is computer language for storing, manipulating and retrieving the data and store in a relational database. Then SQL is a standard language for a relational database system, and all the rational databases management systems like MySQL, MyAccess, Oracle, Sybase, Informix, Postgres, SQL Server use SQL as their standard database language. MS SQL Server using the TSQL and Oracle using the PLSQL, and MS Access version of SQL is called as JSQL, is a native format. Then why we can use the SQL? SQL is widely popular because it offers the following many advantages between them. First one is allow to it users to access the data in the relational database management systems, and users to describe the data, and user can be define the data in a database and manipulate that data, and embed within the other language using SQL modules, libraries and pre-compilers, and to create and drop the databases and tables. Users to create, view, store, procedure and functions in a database. Users to set the permissions on the tables, procedures as view. Let's see how to sum about the when is appeared the SQL. SQL is first of all it will describe into the 1970s like as an relational database, and it can be converted by in 1974 appeared only structured query language, and 78 has there used the product name as a system relational. Like this there are many of implementation to the SQLs. Then how should the process the SQL? SQL execute the commands for the any RDBMS. The systems determines the best way to carry out your request, and SQL engines figures out how to interpret the task. There are very components included in this process. These components are query dispatcher, optimized engines, classic query engines, SQL query engines. Classic query engines handles all the non-SQL queries, but SQL's query engines will not handle the logic files. Means classic queries engines handles all the non-queries, but the SQL query engines will not handle logical files. Then SQL query is stands a query language processor and to connect with DBMS engines, and query language processor have also implemented by parsers and optimizers, and DBMS engine also file manager and transaction manager, and the physical database is implemented by engines. This we have to see the some commands of the SQL. There are relational database commands like create, select, insert, update, delete and drop. These are the main command, and there are main and basic commands. Let's we have to see the DDL. What is DDL, DML and DCL? DDL is data definition language. Data and DML is stands for data manipulations language, and DCL is data control language. And what is in the DDL? Create means data definitions. In this we can define the data. Then how should we define? By using create new tables, view of tables and object in the database, and alter can exit the objects in the database, and drop can delete the table into the SQLs. These are the main concept of definitions. Then create can create a new tables and view of tables and other objects in the database. Alters modifies an existing database object such as table. Drops deletes an entire table, a view of table or other objects in the database. That's we have to see the data manipulation of language. Select, insert and update and delete. Selects can retrieve can records one or more tables. Insert can create a record and updates can modify records and delete can delete the records. Let's we have to see the DCL, data control language. Data control language grants give the privilege to users and revoke, take backs. This is also known as the basic commands of the SQLs. Thank you very much.